WCLU news coverage of the 2020 general election is brought to you in part by HVAC Services.
Alexa, HVAC repair services, please.
Professional and friendly, great service and great products. If you want HVAC done right, go with HVAC Services.
Home of the same-day guarantee, with heating and cooling coverage on any brand at any time.
Welcome today, Joe. Thank you for joining us for this pre-election interview for Glasgow City Council, but let me not do all the talking. We're so glad to have you here today, Joe.
All right, thanks for the invitation.
Sure. So just for a little bit of, to start the interview off, talk a little bit about yourself. For those who may not know you or those who kind of want to know you a little better, talk about who is Joe Trigg.
All right, I'm a native of Glasgow. I grew up here. Went to school, graduated from Glasgow High School back in '76, went in the military, stayed about 30 years, came back, been off and on active in politics, different policies, and running for different offices. So hopefully active in the community and continuing to do so.
Sure. And of course, this November, we're trying to see who's going to make up the new council for the Glasgow City Council, and you are a candidate for that. So the first thing, as an incumbent, talk a little bit about what do you think has been, if not one, but a couple monumental things in this last term here. Whether that's something that you think you've been involved in or something the council as a whole has made a decision on. What's your assessment of the last nearly 2 years?
Well, each year or every time that I've ran for the council, it's been different. And of course, we've had some ongoing issues that continue to hold the city kind of almost at hostage. But other than that, one thing I think it was monumental was the reduction in the council, the number reduction. If you look back, at one point I had proposed that not only do we do a reduction in the council, but do we also do term limits. So I'll be definitely trying to push that through. I mean, normally I've got no votes, so maybe this time other than my own. So I would like to see that added on there where, so we can get new blood and have a new, fresh look on the city council every 2 or 3 years.
Sure. And
one other monumental thing was probably the interview that we did pre or early COVID-19. I wish that would have continued between the health department, TJ Sampson, the local leaders, the mayor and the West End. But, life is what it is, and we went to Zoom meetings and different things on that aspect. But hopefully the community is aware that we're cognizant of what's going on, and the community's best interest is what we will have in hand.
Sure, and talk a little bit about some of the big things that have happened over the last little bit, especially as it pertains to development. Of course, we are still in this period of time before we've really seen the full strategic plan from KLC and things like that. So talk about, the council fitting into this and a member of the council about your views trying to continue progression. Is that something you want to do for this community?
Yes, and it's always, you don't want to say it's a double-edged sword, but it's a double-edged sword. A lot of times the communities, small communities like ours and large communities, we have to sell our soul to get businesses to come to us. We also have to sell our soul to keep the local industry on hand. And when you lose two major industries like Sitel and Donnelly's or LSC, the impact that it has on the community is pretty rough. So then you become the barrier in every other community or a lot of communities, and folks will say, well, why is Bowling Green expanding? Well, the comparison, Bowling Green is the third fastest growing city in the state, and even Louisville and Lexington, nobody compares to Bowling Green right now as far as how they're going. But, if you look at smaller communities, you have to say, where are we at Glasgow? Where does it fit into the picture? We're fighting and we're trying to get businesses to come here just like every other community is in really 3 states, Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So that's the rat race that we're in, and you just got to hope that the things that we have to offer, and normally you can pipe down and say that we have some of the best water in the state, we have some of the best electricity in the states, internet access. Those things are things that folks look at when they look at it. Our education system, we're ranked pretty high as far as Glasgow and Barron County in the education across the state. So they look at things like that. Then the way of life. we have a large number of folks who transit Glasgow going to Burn River Lake or going to Cumberland Lake. And what happens, though, is those folks have a positive impression on us. And we may be looked at as an old folks' home or a kind of a summer leisure place to go and take your family where it's safe. But those things add up as saying that we're still a good community to live in.
Sure. So talking about kind of all of those things, the good traits of this community, I think we can all agree on those for sure. Everything that you said there is validated. However, we are in a bit of a scenario where we are losing out on some things. What do you think is leading to that decline, and do you think that the right thing is being done to get out of that rut? I'm talking like industry loss. I mean, I know there's some recruitment going on, but, you know, seeing those tangible results, albeit they take a while to see, do you think we're going to see those within this next term?
It's always, you never can tell when a business will make a decision to accept the offer that a city or a community lays forth. And a lot of times the state's involvement means as much as the city's involvement. If the state is behind your community receiving the business, that pushes the envelope. Right now, the pandemic, if it's shown anything, is it's shown that most of the industry that was built and raised and born in the U.S. is gone. Will that industry return to the U.S. from Mexico, China, and everything else? I'm saying right now during the pandemic, everybody's saying we need to build America, build America, build America. As soon as we figure out a ways or better ways to deal with COVID-19 and to move forward, then corporate profits will again go to the forefront. And if that happens, then small communities like ours will continue to see a loss of industry. So the answer is maybe we as a country, we as a state, will move more towards, can we have U.S. businesses that are sustainable? And as we speak right now, that is a tough thing to do.
So I know we've been dealing with the plant board, the electric plant board issues for several years now. But now, just in the last several months, there's been what I would consider probably a huge pivot, a shift in the fact that there has been some actual court rulings on some things going on. One of those things being the decision that the council is that governing body that could technically remove members of that board if the council so wished, and vice versa. So as a member of that council, things that you've observed, although you're not on that board, what do you think about the status of the plant board now? And now that we have an economic development position with Maureen Carpenter, who has kind of verified some things about TVA that have been, said in the past. What do you think now as a member of the council that the council should do for that board? There must be some remedy there.
Well, and I hate to bring this up. When they had the one meeting that made some pretty rash moves for a small community like us that's dependent on TVA, I went to the IG, not as a city council member, but as a member of this community, and to say, hey, we need to figure out what's going on. The support and the answer from them was truly dependent upon what does the court system say as far as legality of actions go. If you remember correctly, I was the one that asked Ms. Carpenter, please explain to the community the importance of the relationship we have with TVA. And doing a lot of this, I did a lot of research, and a good portion of the country, whether the locals agree with it or not, say, hey, TVA may be a monopoly. TVA may be not the best bed partner, but TVA is the bed partner that most of the country wishes they had versus the electric partner that they have. Yes, so with all of that being said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's the good thing about having their opinion. I believe that opinion should be, as Ms. Carpenter says, we need to understand the importance of the relationship as far as industry. So and I have to go here. Say you have new industry that wants to move into a community, and you're sitting there at a pivot point as far as, will you have electricity? Who is to be your electricity provider, and will they work with us as a corporation or a huge industry? What benefits can we get from this industry?
Okay. And just to wrap up again, we want to thank you for coming in today.
Appreciate you asking.
Best of luck this November.
Right.
And we'll see what happens. All right.
All right. Hey, looking forward to it.
Hi, I'm Brennan Crane, News Director for WCLU Radio. Thank you for watching this portion of our 2020 election coverage. Visit us at WCLUradio.com and online at Facebook and Twitter for the latest and breaking news updates.